Urpog is a Grandmaster EU West Urgot OTP, and today he sat down with me to talk about Urgot itemization, runes, how to dominate your counterpart in lane, and translate those leads into the mid game. Now, he has quite a funky playstyle in the mid game, definitely very different to how I would perceive the champion. So let's go ahead and get into the details. All right, Urpog, thanks for joining me today. Feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about your Urgot history. How long have you played the champion, and kind of what are you currently ranked at, and maybe some bit about your rank history as well.
So I'm Urpog. I played Urgot since season 10, so I'm relatively new in the league scene when it comes to one-trick content creators. I've been Masters since I first started playing the game, and then sequentially every season after I hit Masters, I've been Grandmaster. So obviously, I've been one-tricking Urgot, as you can see by the shirt. And
It's an Urgot shirt, is it?
Yeah, I made this.
What the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been one-tricking Urgot since season 10. Originally, I was a Darius OTP, but then they buffed Darius when he was already very strong for Worlds. They said, I don't want to play this champion, so I'll play Urgot instead. So ever since then, I've been an Urgot content creator and Grandmaster, pretty much whatever I choose to be. Usually I'm in low Masters because I find it a bit more fun, and I get to experiment more with like what the technology is. So that's me.
Nice. And this is all on EU West.
Yes, I'm from the US. I'm from England.
Beautiful. All right, awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. I thought it would make sense to start with runes. Now, runes is a bit of a controversial thing with Urgot. Urgot has had traditionally a lot of shifts in runes. There's a lot of different play styles with Urgot. Now, I guess traditionally over the past, I don't know how long, maybe you could probably tell me more accurately, or maybe over the year or two, Fleet has been relatively popular with certain Urgot players. Not all Urgot players, certain Urgot players. And the reason being is that it would help spacing, tethering, getting in range for ears. It would allow you to minimize quite well and nice healing as well, especially through that power trough from kind of like levels 4 to 9. Typically what Urgot is known for, that power trough. And then it also gave you access to precision tree, which was always quite good as well. Now, Fleet has been nerfed, quite a bit recently, and then even on the upcoming patch. Now, walk us through your, I guess, philosophy on Urgot runes currently, and maybe even in the past. Like, where's your head at with Urgot runes?
So I've always been a PTA traditionalist. So we call Fleet is the new wave tech. If you're a PTA player, you're a traditionalist. Because Urgot historically has always run PTA ever since Conqueror got nerfed because of Cassiopeia and Ezreal. Urgot's main rune used to be Conqueror until Cassio and Ezreal started taking over the game. So, out of consequence, Urgot gets nerfed a lot because of the other classes. Specifically, Mastermen are always getting Urgot nerfed, especially like the upcoming patch. Fleet is getting gutted, Absorb Life is getting gutted, and stuff like that. So usually Urgot gets nerfed through indirect changes. So PTA has historically been his most popular, but his most I wouldn't say it's the most inconsistent, but Fleet is definitely more consistent, right? So if you run Fleet, it's because you're against a matchup who you can't kill. Like, even if you had PTA, let's say against Ornn, if you do Q auto W into an Ornn, he's going to respond with his full combo. So short trading against an Ornn with PTA isn't an option. So you go Fleet, you ignore the trades, and you just scale up and then play for the late game. But Fleet is good in like pretty much everything else that isn't a tank. So if you're against a ranged top laner like Vayne, you flash PTA damage, exposure damage, etc., etc. If you're against Rumble or Bruises, PTA damage to get the execution combos and stuff like that. But you would pair PTA with Ignite. So it's a
completely different style, right?
Yeah, it's a whole spectrum.
Because when I learnt Urgot it's been probably about 6 months ago or something, I played it for 5 or 6 months, and I remember when I was getting into Urgot, I was like, holy moly, you got players like yourself on one side of the spectrum, which is just Ignite, crazy solo kills early, full psycho mode, and then you get kind of the Urgot players that still playing aggressive early, but they're probably not solo killing, and kind of scaling up with the Fleet. And for me, I guess, I haven't played Urgot nearly as much as you, but I found from a consistency perspective, given my level of mastery, like, I struggled to really replicate that like Ignite PTA style to a high level. And I found for me, Fleet was more consistent, but I could totally understand how like PTA with Ignite is a really, really effective strategy, because you're kind of leaning into Urgot's incredibly strong early game, specifically that levels 1 to 3. And you can kind of snowball with that lead moving forward. And if you know how to play that levels 1 to 3 with Urgot, you know how to aggressively posture and get that ball rolling, you can kind of run away with the lane. And that was like, I always viewed it as like, there's like 2 archetypes of Urgot players, which I always found really interesting. Now, I guess for secondary runes, you're mentioning off camera, there's some Korean players going Scorch and stuff. Where's your head at with secondary runes and stuff?
So there's 2 ways with main keystones, and then there's 7 different ways with minor keystones. So bear with me.
Okay.
Demolish is if you're pairing it with PTA and you know you're in a kill lane. So example, you're against Singed, you know he's going to go proxy, you can kill him whenever you want because it's a hard counter. That's a good matchup where you take Demolish to get you more plates. There's Second Wind if you're against Teemo. Range top laners like Aurora, you would pair Second Wind with Fleet. There's Inspiration for Cosmic Insights and the Free Boots, which I think is the best current page for Urgot.
Yeah,
and you will see this. Yeah. So with Ignite becoming better, because the TP playstyle is getting nerfed because in the next patch, Free Boots and Cosmic Insight, more Ignites, more Flashes equals more aggression. So that's the 3rd way. The 4th way is to play with Biscuits. The 5th way is to play with the potions that give you the extra point in Q, so you can do 3 points Q while getting W on level 9. There's a lot of ways that
that's actually huge, by the way. That's actually, I didn't think of that. It actually makes a lot of sense with Urgot because of how important it is to have points in your W.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's the Korean guy who's like even more aggro than I am. His secondaries are Scorch and Nimbus Cloak, and he runs Ignite also, so he ignites you to get the movement speed to keep rotating around you level 1, and he invades the jungle. So it's really a giant spectrum of like how you can play Urgot, and that's why like I've started a group on Discord where I bring all the best Urgots in, and all of us come to the consensus that there is no best Urgot player. So I can't be the best Urgot player, Quanti can't be the best Urgot player, Challenger Korea can't be the best Urgot player, because there's just so many ways to play him. So you can't say my playstyle is better than yours.
Yeah. I've actually noticed that with so many top lane champs specifically, because I traditionally come from a mid lane background, and I've only played top, properly for the past, 6-7 months, whatever it is. Yeah. And all the champs that I played top, if I played a lot of set, and set was similar. You would have set players that would play like Whippo. Whippo would play set really kind of like conservatively and take TP all the time and like play like a competitive player. And then you'd get players like, is his name Geishu from E? I'm assuming.
I played against him a couple times.
Yeah, and like you'd watch him and I'm like, oh wow, he completely shifted kind of my perspective of set in many matchups. You'd go very aggressive level 1, zone you level 1 with the W and do all this other stuff. And I'm like, and I've noticed the same thing with Garen. You have like Error Slash, like an amazing Garen player that would play completely different to other Garen players. Like top lane has so many different styles of lane, which just doesn't really exist in mid because the lane phase is just fundamentally way less. There's less room for creativity because of the length of the lane. You know?
Absolutely.
And you're not on an island as much. And obviously the lane is obviously a lot less punishing because, the lane length and how easy it is to get back to mid. So it's been really eye-opening to see how many different styles. And I love that mindset as well. It's like just saying, okay, let's just screw the conversation of who's the best Urgot. Let's all just get together and let's find objectively what makes sense and what works. And if you're going to go that, okay, you consider this. If you're going to do this, you consider this. And I think that's such a much healthier
it's much healthier. Yeah, there's no egos involved. It's like, I'm not better than you. It's, we all care about this champion, obviously. So let's talk about the champion.
Yeah, 100%. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about itemization for a second. Now, when I was playing a lot of Urgot, I was actually a massive fan of Hullbreaker Rush. Now, what's the tech nowadays? Where's your head at with Urgot?
So Hullbreaker, it had a really good launch because it had a bug. Urgot was applying Hullbreaker at 100% value. So if you didn't toggle, if you didn't know what toggling, I'll rant about it later. But
I'm familiar with the toggling mechanic.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Urgot W was applying Hullbreaker 100% on the W. So when it launched, it was like 80% win rate, build this item immediately. But then as patch by patch came with the fixed Hullbreaker, it was like, this item isn't really giving me what I want. So Hullbreaker used to be the wave, but now rarely ever will you see any Urgot building Hullbreaker purely because of its niche implications. Because split pushing in general is just very hard. Like if you play against a Nocturne Elise, you already know immediately, oh, I can't split push. It's over, right? So that already invalidates Hullbreaker. So with the tempo of the map changing, Hullbreaker just became more invalid. So BC is just bread and butter like 90% of the time. If you're not doing BC first, you're doing Strikebreaker first. But you do Strikebreaker first into like Aurora, Bane, etc., etc.
Right.
But 90% of the time you do BC. And after BC, you do Sterex. And then you go Strikebreaker third item, you go for Warmogs. Then you end out your build by going Overlord Bloodmail and then some kind of resistance item, usually in Force of Nature or
So, so at a high level, because this is interesting, because the way you interpret Urgot is, from what it sounds like, is way more teamfight oriented. You're really, really emphasizing, getting ahead early game and then translating that lead via team fighting. Is that correct? Am I correct there?
It's weird because I'm not. At my core, I'm a split pusher kind of player, but in this current meta, you have to force yourself to go into a team fight. So that's why movement speed is good, because it gives me the option and the luxury of Urgot wins 1v1 because I run Ignite, and then even though I'm running Ignite, I still team fight because my build is team fight oriented.
Well, so that's interesting though. Yeah, because I've always been a massive fan of Urgot split push. I really do. I'm a massive believer in Urgot split push. I mean, later on, if you have a great early game, post level 9, you beat nearly everyone and especially post first item. Like I don't know, like I might be biased, and again, I don't have all the history of Urgot in my.
Yeah, you're good.
Right. So take it with a pinch of salt. Like for me, I even despite I never played Hullbreaker when I had the bug, right? I've only played Hullbreaker since it was just, normal. And I liked it. But I interpreted Urgot more as I have this really beautiful conservative early game, great wave management, get to my level 9, get Hullbreaker, and just start ripping up the side lane and just start being like that menace. And I think, and not to say you can't team fight, you definitely can team fight, but I would put more of an emphasis on really pumping out pressure in the side and then kind of that being my main focus rather than the team fighting. Now it works for me. I don't know if that's exactly optimal, but it works for me, and I found it to be very replicable. Did you feel as though that has changed with the meta, or is that less viable now more than ever, or where's your head at with that?
That is like my play style too, but I just do that without Hullbreaker, because Hullbreaker in itself is a pretty like mid item. Like the stats are like amazing on it and stuff like that, but usually like if you're against Darius, per se, you make a Darius go 0-4. You have a Hullbreaker. He has Tabis and Phage. You will lose a 1v1.
Right.
So that's the fundamental problem with Hullbreaker, because it's an item designed for split pushing, and you can't get enough lead individually to actually split push. Right. So I play very similar to the way of like split push then team fight, but I only team fight when I have summoners up, because Urgot with summoners up is a different champion. It's like a whole different monster.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then here you also have, we'll just look in here at the itemization. One thing I wanted to look at was the summoners. Now, TP has been under fire recently, which is probably, with the death timers, right? Specifically. So I'm assuming Ignite is becoming more prevalent, specifically with Urgot players. Is that correct?
It's been like an ongoing battle. Like, me and Quanti pretty much like play the same way, but obviously he's better than me. Like, we're not gonna compare like egos or whatever, but Quanti objectively is better than me. But we play like pretty much the same way. We play Ignite, PTA, aggression 24/7, right? He's been forced himself into playing Fleet TP, just to play like high MMR lobbies, because like PTA Ignite is like griefing and high like challenge.
Yeah.
But now it's definitely like forcing Ignite, because now Death Timer nerf on Teleport, that hurts. They're nerfing Fleet, which you always paired with Teleport, that hurts Teleport. And Ignite playstyle is getting more optimized as we continue to play the playstyle. So now we can say, hey, Ignite is actually a stronger playstyle, and people will start listening. But generally, I think if you take 10 Urgot players, 7 of them play TP, 3 of them play Ignite, and then 0.1 play Ghost.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, cool. I think that gives us a great kind of starting point. Let's go ahead and we can start diving into the gameplay then.
Yep.
All right, so loading into this first one. This is you playing Urgot into Aatrox.
It's Aatrox, right? Yes.
Now walk us through level 1. What's the mindset? Where's your head at?
A lot of players kind of AFK level 1, but what I like to do is grab these bushes always. Like, I'll cover my jungle if my jungle starts bot side. I'll hover around top side, and then I know I'm strong enough to walk into these bushes anyway if they can test me. You see, I let the Aatrox walk past me, and I see if he's going to touch the wave or use abilities in the wave. So I sidestep the Q2, I want to look for Q3 here. Or I want to E his Q3 here. If he's not going to use Q3, I'm going to use E to shield the damage. But this is good. So I took a tower shot there, and he's 50% HP. So that's just
this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And this is the thing. It's a win-win scenario for you here, right? Because think about it. If he doesn't walk up, he just gets zoned from the first 3 melees, and then you can completely snowball that lead level 2 and get stuff done. And let's say he completely respects, he's just going to go down a lot of XP, and then you could just, I'm assuming, 3-stack into a tempo reset.
Yep, or you can go for a dive.
Or you go for a dive. Yeah, if he takes a bad trade, then go for a dive, right? So this is something that I've, again, similar style as Set. Set does a similar thing. The only counterplay to this that I've found from an Aatrox side is they have to ward this level 1.
Yeah, if they ward it, then it's countered. But that's the only counterplay they have to display.
It's the only counterplay, right? So yeah, I love this. And this is why I think this PTA Ignite setup is also so effective, because especially in the lower elo brackets, people aren't respecting this.
Yeah, there's no way like you load into a lobby against Urgot and you're respecting this kind of play, right?
No.
So you see, like, he just uses Q1, he just uses Q2. Now he's walking the wave. I'm going to use my Ignite for tempo. Even though he's landed his Q3, like, what does Aatrox realistically do in this situation? So he landed his abilities, but it doesn't matter, right? Because now he's going to have to burn his flash, and he's still going to die.
Yep. Yeah, this is a really, really stock standard Urgot. So this one probably wasn't played the best mechanically, right? We could probably go for
I'm at 100 ping right now. Yeah, but
you're on holy moly, I didn't realize that. You're on 100 ping.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
So he flashed there, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. I think this is really good. I mean, and this is completely aligned with this whole PTA Ignite style as well, right? It all kind of ties together. That's like that's the big picture identity of this thing, isn't it? I mean, at a high level, you know, your game plan is snowball levels 1 to 3, get the wave, get a kill or deny a lot of XP, and then get the wave bouncing back out, rinse, repeat, try and solo kill or set up a gank, and then go from there, right? That's kind of the whole thing.
I think one thing a lot of players miss out on when it comes to like this kind of wave management too is, so Urgot does cheater recall here. So if you pause the game here, it would make a lot of sense. So since my jungle started bot lane, that tells me as a top laner immediately, especially as Urgot, that I want to cheater recall. Cheater recall is just getting their first 3 minions, first 3 minion waves under their turret, so the wave will eventually bounce back to me on the 4th wave. So on the 4th wave, Sejuani will complete her pathing and then get to top lane. So I'm establishing Urgot domination in lane to get priority. I convert that into getting a cull early game, and then after I get my cull, the wave rebounds into me when the jungle is coming. So now Aatrox has no flash, he has no teleport. I could have killed him if I played mechanically better, but I also killed the enemy jungler, and now this wave is going to, like, ideally it would be pushing into me. Sejuani comes top, Aatrox no flash, and then is another kill, right? So I could have generated 3 kills just from playing the way I'm playing in this lobby.
100%. And then this is what I found with Urgot. Like, you have to master the early game, right? To have success with Urgot. You got, like, this here, you got to master it. Like, this is the game, right? For Urgot. Like, if you nail this, you're going to be, it's a lot of the time smooth sailing, yeah?
Yeah. I would argue level 4, 5, and 7, 8 are the hardest to master. Like, just because that's Urgot's downtime, right? But the most important thing is you get tempo. You get enough tempo from 1, 2, and 3 to justify your 4 and 5. If you don't,
I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that, because the philosophy is that right. So levels 1 to 3, you have this insane spike, and then 4 to 8 is this kind of terrible, and then 9 you spike again. But this lead that you accrue here should theoretically bridge the gap. To level 9. I
so that bridge at the bottom should be lifted up a little bit based on like how well you've played.
Right, totally.
So now Aatrox mismanaged his wave and pushed the wave into me. So now all I can do is I can just spin out a little bit so Sejuani comes top. So even though I died, I didn't get the ideal wave rebound, like natural state. This is a I think this guy is Diamond 4 because I'm playing an NA unranked Challenger challenge right now.
Right.
So this guy mismanaged his wave and now he set himself up for the gank, right?
Yeah, he's just so screwed. Yeah. He's already burnt his TP, and the wave's bouncing back. And then you just freeze, and he's just so screwed.
Yeah. So now, what does he do? So in this lobby, mechanically played a little bit better. That's 4 kills in 4 minutes, just because I'm Urgot, right? So that's why the early game is so important, because I generated 4 kills in this lobby potentially.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it looks like what you did here is that you and Sejuani have actually decided to shove this into a reset. You have a lot of options.
Sejuani decided.
Okay, right. Yeah. So I don't think I would have done that, but it is what it is, right?
Sejuani decided, so we decided. Let's say that.
Adapt to the chaos.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and this is, what I find appealing with Urgot. You have this very replicable kind of style or game plan, don't you? That's one of the major strengths of Urgot. A lot of other there are a lot of other champs like say Camille or Gwen, and there's a lot of like skill expression and like a lot of nuance, and sometimes your lanes can play out many different ways. Urgot, it's like, okay, I do this. It's just very like kind of black and white nearly, you know? Just really comes down to execution.
Yeah, so Urgot, though he has many ways to play, like play styles and stuff like that, we all follow this kind of like invisible line of like what our champion should do. And it's very simple. It's kill them, level 1, 3, don't die, win the game. That's as simple as you can burn Urgot down to.
100%. And let's go back here. And while you're walking out of base, do you want to explain maybe to the viewers that aren't familiar with the power trough, why that kind of is that time between 4 to 8 is considered a power trough? Typically.
So level 6 is like a small spike because if you're playing Ignite and your time is correctly, level 6 can be like a mini spike too. But generally speaking, level 4, you always put a point into Q second. Because at level 9, you're going to max out your W anyway, just from natural skill points. But if you put your points, your second points at level 4 into your Q, it goes from 45 damage to about 130. So it triples the damage pretty much. Right. So that's one very important thing. That's your last divot. Level 5, you're starting to put points into a scaling ability. If you put 3 points into Q, you're denying your scaling potential. So that's why it's such a divot, because now you're just playing the waiting game until your W is maxed. Because your W is like ultimately where all your power is. Until your W is maxed, you access your toggle. For the viewers at home, toggling is Urgot shoots 3 times per second with his W. Turn off your W, replace it with an auto attack. It now does 150 damage instead of 50. That's the layman's term, easiest way to understand it, right? If you think about it, it's a 37% damage increase for free. Once you get that, you're a champion. So at level 9 and 13 and 16, Urgot spikes then. But Urgot is really weak on level 5. Level 6 depends on matchup, but still a really big divot. Level 7, 8, and 9, again, they're just scaling levels. Like, think about yourself like an Aurelian Soul these times. And at level 9, you're online, right? But obviously, I don't look very weak here because of like how I've set up this lobby. So Aatrox can't approach the wave. I have Ignite. Whenever he walks up, I walk forwards.
Yeah, 100%. And then in terms of how that changes the way you play your lane, like back here, we're typically trying to keep the wave in this sort of pocket as long as possible, right? During that kind of trough, especially level 5, level 7, level 8.
Yeah, so what you'll see in low elo a lot is, so what I'm doing right now, you see me walking backwards quite a bit, despite being a lot stronger than his Aatrox, right? So I think Urgot might be the biggest gaslight champion in League, which is like very important. Yeah, Urgot is all about gaslighting because my E fundamentally doesn't work unless you play into it. So I need to like kind of goat them into like being an idiot so my E works, right?
Yeah, I literally resonate with that so much because I had so many games experience with Urgot where like I'd get myself into a good position. I'd think, surely I'm gonna win this, and I'll just lose. Like I'm 2 like here, like I'd be like 2-0 or something, and then like I'll lose, even though I'm like got a complete like massive item advantage. And it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, so Urgot's at his core, he's a reactive champion, but you have to trick people into thinking that you aren't, right? So it's just like this very big minigame. Like I need you to make my E work.
Yeah, Urgot is a minigame champ, right? It's like it's like all these little minigames that you're trying to do all the time.
Yeah, so
I just want to go back here quickly on one little thing here. Like just a little thing. What you're doing is that you're actively trying not to proc all of your legs, so you're constantly sitting on one side of the wave to ensure that you're not going from here to here to here to, you know, like, because then you're going to A-way the wave too much. You're constantly sitting onto the right hand side and getting that leg once, and then constantly auto attacking with that leg that's been burnt so you don't A-way the wave too much, which is going to help you keep the wave in this location, which is great.
Yeah, so that's a thing you'll see a lot of high elo Urgot players do, and that's why like all of us will say that you can freeze an Urgot. I know it's like a very common sentiment that like Urgot has to push his wave eventually, but if you just use one of your legs and have like awkward positioning, you're absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So you've held the wave here for such a long time. You've done an excellent job. You've got some beautiful defensive vision here. And then you're just weak-sided, right? You just have to chill, right? Your Sejuani's pathing away from you. We just got to relax. We have got 6 Ignite.
You think so, right? It's got to chill, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is... did Evelyn... I think Evelyn flashed before, right? Earlier in the game.
Yeah, she had flash before, so I just know she's dead here.
Yeah, nice. Really nice.
Yeah, because I know at this point, like, you saw how Aatrox, he played so far back from me. If your summoners are up, you need to use them. That's just how Urgot works, right? Urgot has so much tempo in his flash that if you aren't using flash and ignite on cooldown, it's like, it actively feels bad. So I know, like, when I walk forwards, Aatrox walks and dashes backwards. He plays under his turret. So I've already understood the fact that I can't use my summoners on Aatrox because he's going to be outside of my E-flash range for the entire lobby. Yeah. So as soon as I understood that, I see Evelyn hovering around top side, no flash, not even level 6 yet, that means I can look for something in the jungle. So usually I won't move my junglers because I think, I've got 330 movement speed, very slow. I would usually wouldn't move, but since I identified that, hey, Aatrox on the turret, AFK, doesn't want me to flash on him, I'll just flash on your jungler instead. So that's one way to like convert these out of lane without needing to team fight, right? Because that plays into like making the whole map weaker generally.
Yeah. And just kind of just a little critique here. This, you're obviously streaming and probably talking to your audience and stuff, but here, this should have been a slow build, right? In hindsight.
Yeah, this should have absolutely been a slow push, yeah.
Yeah. Because now we're suffering the consequences later on because we need to reset, but then the wave doesn't fully crash, and now Aatrox is already here. Now the wave is
back. Yeah.
It's a bit of an awkward scenario. And that's not one thing that I do like about Urgot is that it teaches fundamentals really well. It really forces you to be extremely conscious of everything that you do. One messed up wave, one wasted ability, one missed reset can completely destroy your lane.
Yeah, because that right now I should have been out of lane like 30 seconds ago, but I'm just talking to people. That's just a streamer life, But now
Aatrox, it's a streamer debuff.
Yeah, it actually is. But yeah, I should have left 30 seconds ago. But Urgot is a very simple champion. He's not as simple as people make him out to be. I'd say like learning Urgot is like 7 because you have to like if you want to be a good Urgot player, it's 7. If you just want to be an Urgot player, it's 5, 4. Right? If you don't want to toggle, if you don't want to learn buffering, if you don't want to learn animations, you don't want to learn E-Flash and stuff like that, then Urgot is a very basic champion. But there is a lot of surprising depth to the champion. But yeah, Urgot plays to the fundamentals of League. If you make a wrong fundamental with League, Urgot will feel it really badly, as opposed to like an Aatrox who can just hit item and randomly kill you, right? So Urgot needs to ride at like an invisible wave, which all Urgot players do. And that's just like, it's very in line with what League of Legends wants to be. So Urgot's a good, it's a great champion to style if you want to start learning.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually why it says we in my top lane program, we actually like emphasize Urgot. I highly recommend Urgot to like lower elo players because it just teaches you so much about the game.
Yeah. It's also good for low elo players because low elo players don't understand Urgot, right? They just want to like fight you 24/7. You have surprising spikes.
Yeah, it has that X factor, right? Because you're going to come into a game, they're not going to know exactly what you're going to do. And as you get higher and higher, and you're versing players that are familiar about when you're weak and strong, it's completely different. It's like a different game. Yeah. It doesn't even feel like the same champion.
Yeah. That's why in high elo, you run Fleet right now. Well, it's going to change soon, right? But, so like, let's say there's like a ladder, right, on all the ranks. As you start playing Urgot, let's say you're starting out silver, you should run Fleet when you start playing Urgot, just so you can understand him at his basics. But as soon as you hit gold, you should then swap to PTA Ignite, because PTA Ignite is like exclusively strong in low elo. But if you don't have a strong grasp of like what Urgot actually is, you're not going to be able to use PTA Ignite well. So start with Fleet in silver, gold. As soon as you get out of silver, gold, swap over to PTA Ignite, because then you have the foundations to build upon. But you can't just, you're out the gate, gun swinging, Ignite, PTA, E-Flash, because you'll get you'll die.
You won't. It'll just be. That's exactly the. That's actually the experience that I had. It was actually very overwhelming to go from never really played Urgot properly to go straight to PTA Ignite. It's like, what am I even doing? Feels like I'm not even playing Urgot. It just feels really weird. I love that philosophy. Now, I just want to quickly go back on this gameplay while we're talking. You end up going for an early kind of reset here for these symbiotic. What are they called? Symbiotic souls.
Symbiotic souls.
Is that something that you've been doing recently?
So I was watching my friend Elite 500, might be familiar, the Vladimir player. Yeah. I tuned into a stream one time, and I saw he was using the boots, and I was like, okay, why are you doing that, bud? And then he told me they were the source, so I started trying them out, and it just synergizes with Urgot, especially with Ignite playstyle very well, because it gives you empowered recall. So the main weakness of Ignite versus TP is it makes you immobile, but with Symbiotic Souls, if for those who don't know, Symbiotic Souls are basically the new version of mobility boots. It gives you out of combat movement speed up to 45 from your base, and then 45 from the out of combat passive, and then I also run 3 boots. So these boots, out of combat, are giving me 100 movement speed. So I'm basically walking around the game like I have a Warmogs. On just, and then I also have the empowered recall, which saves me an extra couple seconds, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, nice. Because Urgot's actually one of the champions where a lot of the time you actually don't need defensive boots because you're so strong anyway. Like, you don't really need steel caps or whatever. And that's why I was always a massive fan of swiftness boots on Urgot as well.
I've been advocating for Swifties for 2 years, and then this whole trend of like Swifties like becoming broken like was popularized, and then everybody was like, "Wow,
I told you so."
Yeah.
Okay, so beautiful. Now you're level 9. This is go time, right? This is level 9.
Yeah.
You've got your W maxed out. We're feeling really, really strong. This is like where you can basically take over your lane, right? Definitively.
Yep.
So
Now
walk us
I'm
through
a
this all
champion.
in.
So earlier before, you saw me walk up on the Aatrox before. I went under his tower just to get a trade. So you'll see here, even though he's walking up, I'm walking forwards. And he's under his tower, obviously, right? But as soon as I get one leg, he's dead. The way I look at Urgot is I look at him like Cho'Gath. I have like an execute threshold in my eyes the entire time I'm playing the game. So this Aatrox is dead to either one Q, one passive, or etc. etc. Because that's how much damage my champion does. It just makes it reliable. So as soon as I've landed that Q, it's like a mental switch in my head. It's go time, right? So I have sums up. I've chunked him down before engaging on him, and now he's dead. The best way you can learn how to do this is just play Urgot. I have 5 million mastery points. I've started in season 10, so it's a bit obsessive like playing. But every champion in the game I look at with like that Cho'Gath R execute threshold.
Yeah.
So Aatrox is dead at 90%. Let's say it's a Darius on an equal footing. Darius should be dead around 60%. If it's a Camille, she gets her passive barrier. So Camille is whatever her current HP is, 60% plus 25% because of her HP. So her HP shield because it gives physical. So all these champions in my brain, in my eyes, are like, you're dead if I do this. You're dead if I do this. I never look at my own health bar because I know that I'm going to be able to kill this champion before they're able to do anything back to me just because of how Urgot E works.
Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of the skill you need to master as an Urgot player, because that's what you do. You just kill people. Yep. You have to kill people, because if you're not getting a lead in the lane, then you're just not really a champion, right? I mean, there's just champions that are going to do team fight and do things way better than you. You have to get some sort of things done, especially post level 9. Well, levels 1 to 3, and especially post level 9.
You're about to want something fun.
So we don't even have Ignite now, so we got ult coming back up though, which is really good.
Yeah, this Aatrox is very passionate about this control ward.
So at a high level though, at this stage of the game, what are you emphasizing? What are you prioritizing? Are you still trying to just kill them? Are you trying to get the tower? What are you doing?
Tier 2 is my absolute priority.
Yep.
Aatrox, by the way. Tier 2 is absolute priority because if I can kill them once, obviously I'm Black Cleaver, I'm level 9, I'm online. I now have the say to do whatever I want with this lobby. Like, I can just run mid, get tier 1 turret with my team by doing an E-flash in 1 minute 30. If I want to. But my main thing is individual power. Because even though I am on Black Cleaver, I'm not immortal yet. Once you hit Sterax, then you're immortal. Because BC Sterax gives you a shield of about 1,000. So then my effective HP walking around the map, let's say level 13, I will be about 4,000 effective HP unit wherever I want. Because I have E-shield, I have Sterax, and then I have, just general, like, reviving my health. So I can choose wherever I want. I can just flick my hand and something will happen right now. And generally, I go for like isolated gameplay until I hit Sterax. When I hit Sterax, I'm fine because like right now I'm way stronger than this Aatrox, but I don't know where the Evelyn was. Evelyn just showed up on bot lanes. Now I'm allowed to walk forwards, right? Because until I hit Sterax, Evelyn will one shot me. But once I hit Sterax, I'll 1v2 them. So I was just playing a little bit back there to like determine where Eve was. Now that Eve's like shown on vision, I'll try to dive this guy.
Right, yeah, because you can just 100-0 now at this stage, especially level 11.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's the beautiful combo there. And because the reason this is a no counterplay combo is because they can't avoid the R. Because you ER, and there's nothing they can really do about it. And then you got that Ignite, it's just a complete one-shot. Just beautiful execution there. And now, this is where you can start running away from the game. And now, just a quick question. You were talking about kind of 2 items, the Black Cleaver and the Sterax.
Yeah.
Do you perceive Urgot as a 2, 3, 4 item spiking champion? Or what do you think about that?
Urgot is more dependent on levels than he is items. Because you can be a 0-7 Urgot, but if you're put in the right like chamber, I can E-flash like a Fed carry. Like let's say there's a Fizz, no E, he's in front of me, 10-0. I'm Black Cleaver Urgot, he's 3 item Fizz. I can one-shot that Fizz, right? So it's usually just dependent on the EXP and like right situations than it is like items. Right. But if we're like isolating items as an example, Urgot definitely spikes the hardest on 3 items because the 3rd item core is Warmogs, and Warmogs is like such a high tempo item. Like, I can go into a side lane, I can chunk 80% of my health and kill someone, then I can just go back to the lane, and now I'm back to full health, and I'm refilling that constant like side lane inevitable pressure, right? So Warmogs is like the ultimate, like quintessential win more side lane demon build. But if you're not going for Warmogs and you're just trying to play for like team fights and stuff like that, then 2 items is usually like more reliable. But ideally, BC Sterak's, you're like online, you're god. BC Sterak's Warmogs, if you're winning, it's even more god. And then from then on, it's like a slow decline. Because that's just how Urgot is. So Urgot's not like a hyper late game, he's like more like hyper mid. Because let's say you're against like Orianna, Caitlyn, like that team fight is incredibly hard to play. Then you become like more team reliant, right?
Yep. Beautiful. And we're doing some nice little W toggling there. Do you want to explain to the people just some toggling stuff, just so they, if they don't understand it?
So toggling it's intimidating at first, mechanically, when you start doing it, but it's very simple in concept. So we're going to make up some imaginary numbers here, so it's easy to consume. Urgot's W does 50 damage. Urgot's W shoots 3 times per second. I replace one of those Ws with my champion's natural kit that does 139 damage. So instead of 55, 55, 55, 55, it's 55, 55, 55, 139. Don't know the exact math, but it's about 30%, 40% damage increase passively just from doing it. So it's just a very valuable tool that if you are going to start playing Urgot, that you need to start doing. Also, you see I'm recalling as soon as I hit Sterak Spike. Like, as soon as I hit Sterak Spike, I'm out. There's no reason for me to stay on map, even though I could pressure Herald.
And that's why Cull is so good as well. It just helps you really streamline that Sterak's.
Yeah, so right now, I'm God. I'm Exodia. I can do whatever. Yeah, so like this game is 12 to 16, but I'm going in with the mindset that, hey, I can go bot, you're dead. Because again, I got my flash. So like usually like this is like very advanced. I time plays with flash based around when I'm gonna hit certain item spikes. Because I know if I kill this Aatrox and I take his turret here, I'm getting X amount of gold. And then I know when I want to recall when I hit Sterak's, right? So now I recalled, I got my Sterak's, and I'm fielded back up with Ignite Flash. So now when the next fight happens, or when I want to start a fight to get the tier 2 turret, it's in my delta to decide what happens then. Because if I killed the Aatrox last time under his turret, and now I have no Flash Ignite, I'm still going to be pretty weak because of like how easy you can kite me. But now that I have Flash Ignite, I can just say,
right. Hey, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah, okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. So all the way back here when you initially killed the Aatrox, I think it was actually way earlier. I think it was this one here. When you killed this Aatrox, you purposely, I mean, you didn't have Flash available, but even if you had Flash, you would never use it because you want your Flash timed with your second item spike such that when you come back, you can kind of min-max the effectiveness of that 2 item spike.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Okay, I see what you mean.
But that's like advanced in time.
Obviously, that's quite advanced. The average player is not going to be thinking about that. But yeah, that's really cool to hear. Like, kind of how advanced like your perception of the game is after all, thousands of games of playing Urgot. So I just want to talk about this. So 2 item spike, your God mode, tier 2s for the people watching who are unfamiliar with why tier 2s are important. Why do you emphasize tier 2s so highly on Urgot?
Because that's Urgot's playstyle in a nutshell. Also, right here, it was like 3 people like hunting me down invisible. There was like Evelyn, Akshan, both invis behind me, so I just made the call say, "Hey, Aatrox, you're gonna die," because I want you to. But tier 2s are like so important because side lane pressure is everything Urgot wants. I want to pressure the side lane so hard that their top laner doesn't exist. So when I go for a team fight without my summoners on, that we will win it regardless, right? So Aatrox deck gets a gold reset. I think Evelyn got the bounty, but I don't care about Evelyn getting bounty because I hard counter Evelyn. But since there's like such a vacuum inside of top lane right now, I bring 3 people top lane, we get a mid tower, and we also pressure bot lane. So we just pressured 3 lanes at one time because I decided to go top lane, right? So this is why I like doing plays like these. This is why I like PCA Ignite, because it makes me god mode in top lane. My team's throwing, but ignore that. Generally speaking, I want to make their top laner so useless that they have to walk back to their fountain to catch the minion wave every time I push it out, and then use those seconds against the enemy team.
So you essentially want yourself to be so unmanageable that you can then use that time to then, whether it's group or whatever it is you need to do.
Yeah. So right now, they know I'm unmanageable, right? They sent 3 people, mid tower, Aatrox died in 1v1, Aatrox is now gold reset, bot lane got shoved in, so 3 lanes of pressure, 1 play. So that's what I like.
Now, I want to ask a very pragmatic question. Back here, when you were coming out of base, you got your Sterak's and you ran topside. How conscious are you when it comes to dragons? How important are dragons to you as an Urgot post 2 items?
Very important. I think dragons are like the ultimate win con. I think grubs are useless and bait.
Yep.
And that's coming from me, who has like a split push playstyle persona, right? I think grubs are like absolutely bait, especially for Urgot, because I can't usually contest around those like kind of levels where they spawn. So I like to see grubs, but I will always group up for dragons, or I will start some kind of play on the other side of the map to get pressure there. Right. I think dragons are like the ultimate win con, especially because it helps Urgot scaling at the end. Because usually, like, you go up a mountain, you hit level 16, and then it's like at the end it's like a slight dip off. If you get the soul, it fixes that dip. So I'm always trying to like create a situation that makes dragons good.
So now dragons up, you're coming out of base, you're thinking, okay, we need to play this dragon. I want to be in the area, and you know, obviously team fighting without sums is obviously a lot harder. But you're gonna have.
But that was my philosophy. Like, I want to make a divot so hard in top lane that I don't need summoners to win a team fight.
Right.
So they don't have a tip fighter. And I did a 1v3 play. Oh god, not him. I had a flashback to this play. But the idea was, generally speaking, is Aatrox is useless. He has no item. He is basically homeless versus me, who's on 2 items with Sterex. So I can face tank pretty much the entire enemy team here, and then I'm going to go team fight while Aatrox is not a champion. So even though Urgot feels like not a champion in a 4v5 right now, Aatrox also isn't a champion. So it's basically a glorified 4v4, and I'm a punching bag for my teammates. This team fight is very messy. I remember this like.
so from a team fighting perspective, though, what is your like? What are you typically thinking about? What are you typically trying to focus?
So there, you see me tanking 3 enemy champions. Because I know I'm not a champion. Like, even though I'm ahead, because I don't have my summoners because I use them top lane for tempo. So my idea is, hey, they're gonna send 3 people after me when I have my Sterex proc. I can tank 4,000 damage here, right? And then I hope my teammates convert something while I'm holding all the pressure on the other side, and they do. So I trade my life, which is like in my eyes quite worthless right now because I have no summons or whatever, for a winning situation on Dragon, because I'm gonna be able to get to Dragon in the next like 2 seconds because of my symbiotic souls. Because I have 100 movement speed outside of combat. So even though I killed myself here, if this fight stalls on, if like there's like things to clean up, this is more valuable as a situation to me than just like living. Right. I don't want to be alive. I want to die gloriously.
In hindsight, do you think that you could have played this slower though, like whereby you could have just kited back here with your team, or do you still kind of think that this is like the way you prefer to play team fights?
The thing is, it's Evelyn, right? And Evelyn wants to assassinate backline. But if I'm like so ahead of my team that Evelyn can't like. There is no backline if I'm not frontlining, right? Basically, what I'm doing is like suicide bombing myself to have to force Evelyn to bad position.
Right, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so all I want is a glorious death, and my glorious death was face tanking 3 champions. I got Arkshan completely out of position to actually go on my carries. I got the Swain ult, and I died while doing a lot of damage while dispositioning the entire.
Just trying
team.
to create as much space as possible.
Yeah,
basically burn as much stuff as possible. Yeah, because that means Urgot. So just trying to pass that information. So in your head, there's kind of like, I guess, 2 ways of kind of playing team fights. There is the try and burst someone, get your ult off. Yeah, that's typically more so with Flash, because then you would kind of get the Flash fear and kill everyone. And then there's, okay, I know I'm kind of useless. I don't have my Flash. It's going to be hard for me to get on the back line. Therefore, I just need to put my body in the area, soak up as much damage as possible, and just trying to be some sort of a nuisance. Right? Do you think that's a good kind of summary?
Yeah. That's the perfect summary.
Lovely. Now, by the way, just to sort of highlight this, holy moly, your movement speed here, really, look how fast you are.
I have 114 bonus movement speed from 1 item. And you know what, that item, it costs 600 gold. So that's why I like Symbiotic Souls.
And this is the power of it. Now, you put yourself in this position. Aatrox can't really play the game, and now you're getting to a point where it's going to be very, very hard for them to deal with you. And this is the style of Urgot that I love. Like, you just become this absolute menace in the side lane, and then you're just going to create a lot of space for your team. It'd be interesting to see what you do from here. Like, so what's your mindset? You've killed Aatrox. What are you trying to do here?
Well, I just saw Evelyn on bot lane, and I know if Arkshan's coming that I need to see him, because Arkshan, he's fed, and my flash is still down for 30 seconds. When I have flash, I will play like a completely different champion, but you see I play like very skirtingly. So since I don't know where Arkshan is, Swain's obviously holding top lane right now. That means somebody else, like Swain can't hold me, right? So that means somebody else is going top lane, which means Arkshan's going top lane. So instead of just entertaining the idea of like 1v2ing while having no flash, I just take enemy jungle. And I think taking enemy jungle is like the most valuable thing you can do, like when you're ahead. The movement there, by the way. Taking enemy jungle is the best way you can play top lane. This top lane is an island, and I would argue it has the least impact consistently, based on other roles. Like, if you go 0-10 as a top laner, the game's still winnable. If you go 0-10 as an ADC, the game's lost, right? That's the fundamental difference in my brain. So I do as much in my role right now to try and impact other lanes. Because Aatrox, useless. I will become useless if I use all my tempo into the Aatrox. So now I'm looking for Evelynn. I'm looking to take enemy jungle camps, yada, yada, yada.
Interesting. So yeah, this whole thing is actually very different to the way I would have played this, funnily enough. So like going back here, you rip up top lane, and then what ends up happening is that Jhin kind of shoves out bot and then dies to the Evelynn. My mindset would have been, as soon as Akshan shows bot, I'm going to reset, redeploy bot, get back into bot, and start pressuring the side opposite the Baron. Do you think that's a viable decision, or do you think that just kind of sticking on top side and using your presence to control top side is more valuable?
So in the situation specifically, I think it was I could have fielded myself bot lane and played perpendicular to the Baron, which is ideally what you want to do with Ignite. You always want to side lane it where the other objective isn't. Like when Dragon spawns, you have the choice. If I flash, I'll go group up. If I have teleport, then I can play bot lane and teleport. If I'm playing Ignites, I want to get like tier 2, tier 3. But in this situation, I know Evelynn's entire jungle camp top side are up, and I don't care much for bot lane this game because, as evidenced earlier, they're going to send Akshan, they're going to send Evelynn, they're going to send Swain. They're just the side lane win condition doesn't really exist this game, and that's the only reason that tier 2 turret is still standing. Because if I wanted to, I just take the turret whenever I find it appropriate, right? So that's why I'm playing towards the top side here. Okay. I'm putting myself in like the important area, so I can create good results based around that area.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So let's go back to this. So yeah, like you said, you've created a lot of space here on this top side. You and Sejuani are now fighting together. You end up getting a really, really nice fight. I mean, you just don't feel scared, right? Because you have your Sterax. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're so strong. And then, this is, quintessential Urgot gaming, right? You got yourself into this unbelievably strong position where you can kind of just kill everyone.
Yep. That's it. That's the game.
The flash is interesting though. Do you think in hindsight the flash is even worth it?
I think we can convert this to Baron purely because Evelynn's dead for 15 seconds and we've been ruthless.
So that was your mindset. It was like you kill the AD carry because we can get something else. But if you knew you couldn't do Baron, would you still flash there or nah?
I'm worth a bounty, so it might be worth to kill them just to get out. To live. Like obviously we don't go like Baron here because like Sejuani died and Lux is bot lane, yada yada yada. But I still think it's worth the kill there, purely just to play tempo. So I took the red buff because I killed the Misfortune. So I think I netted myself like net 350, 400 just for getting that. And I'm about to hit my third item, which I think is Stride Breaker. If I know myself, I'll get Stride. Nope, I'm trying out the Korean technology. Never mind.
So the Korean build.
Yeah, the Korean build, so there's two Korean players. One's Challenger, one's Grandmaster. He does Ghost, Teleport, Sundered Sky, Rush, but after Black Cleaver. So he goes Black Cleaver and then Sundered Sky. So I'm like, okay, if the Korean guy is going to do it, I might as well try it and see if there's any merit to it. So that's what I do when I get leads, because I like being the source of information for Urgot. So I want to be that kind of guy that says, hey, this build is bad and this is why. This build is good, this is why. So I'm always like testing the new builds and like talking with the other good players, see what their builds.
What do you think? What's your synopsis on that item?
Avoid like the plague is my synopsis.
So why do you think he does it? What's the thought process?
I don't know. I think Korea is just like such a hyper aggressive region that like getting like 400 health in a team fight actually makes a difference.
Right.
But like you see, this is NA. I'm overkilling on full HP.
Right? Yeah. Right.
With the R.
Okay, so Dragon is the next objective right now, or potentially Baron, depending on how it plays out. Again, you've opted in for, again, this whole sequence. It's fine. It's interesting because it would have been very different to me. And my focus probably would have been shoving out bot side. And
so my idea here is I'm so strong and my team is behind. If I don't make the play, we lose. So I'm down to just put Jhin to like die to Evelynn on bot lane if it means I get her whole top side, which is more valuable to me than Jin's life, because Jin's been like dying on repeat pretty much. We can also just send Lux and just R the way bot lane, and then she can rotate. But in my eyes, I want to like end this game. If this game goes to 18 and we're all equal, they're stronger. But right now, I have about 7,000 gold difference on the enemy team, on the enemy top laner, that I want to pivot. So I'm trying to actively use that to my advantage while sacking bot lane. So I don't care that I get tier 2 bot lane. It doesn't matter to me because I can just go bot lane and take the tier 2 turret, tier 3 turret whenever I want and then force Baron. But I don't trust my teammates enough to put the game in their hands. So I'm just saying, hey, I'll go here. I'll do this for you. Just clear a bot wave. Just kill a bot wave and we're fine, right?
Right, interesting. Okay. Yeah, very unique approach to mid-game. And so now you're in a position where, we're basically killing everyone. Is the mindset you trying to kill enough people to start the Baron, or are you trying to just create space to do dragons? What's the mindset there?
I just want space. It doesn't matter what space it is. I want to own it. If it's like controlling Evelyn's topside jungle, if it's controlling Baron, if it's controlling Dragon, I want the enemy team to be so afraid to walk into their jungle knowing that a 12 and 3 Urgot could be staring at them the entire time. That's the idea. I want Evelyn to double think her actions before going somewhere. So I want to create as much space as possible without being there. That's my eventual overall goal. I want to make the enemy paranoid, waste wards. I want pressure. I want side lanes, and yada yada yada. This game I play pretty much team centric because I'm forced to. I don't think I can side lane this game actually because Evelyn stun, Arkshan DPS, Aatrox interrupt my W damage. So that's why I think side laning this lobby is actually unviable, even though I want to.
Interesting. So you had more of a team fight grouping approach to this game, which makes sense given the way you played it. You're not really going on bot. You're just constantly redeploying on top side around the Baron. And now you got Soul, and now it's just a matter of just kind of ending the game. So maybe see if we can skim forward a little bit. Maybe take a look at the last fight.
Yeah, this is more like an early game bot anyway.
Yeah, we'll maybe take a look at the last fight just to see some execution here.
Yeah.
It looks like I see what happens. It looks like this is what you're trying to do here. You're just trying to essentially find the jungler, kill the Evelyn. Once you kill the Evelyn, then we can just do the Baron and end.
Yeah, that's it. That's the entire game. It's simple as that. That's my game plan. They know I control the topside jungle. Evelyn misplay. We take Baron, E-flash, end the game. Done.
Beautiful. Okay, let's go take a look at another early lane and see how we see if the same game plan is at play, or see how this is, what other adaptations are made. Yeah, so this one's the Volibear. Yeah. Okay, so how does the game plan change at all given it's a Volibear, or is it still exactly the same?
It's kind of different because you have to play. So Urgot plays like a melee champion, even though he's a range champion, right? But you have to play like a range champion against Volibear until you're forced to play as a melee champion. So Urgot has 2 ways to play. There's true range and true melee. So against a champion that you can't stop yourself from being melee against, like let's say Aatrox. Aatrox is a melee champion who plays like a range champion because Q1 E forwards is more range than my Urgot auto range. So Aatrox is a range champion. Aatrox is a melee champion who plays like a range champion. So I only have the option to play like a melee champion against Aatrox. But let's say I'm against Garen. Garen is a melee champion who has to play like a melee champion. So I'll play like a range champion against Garen. So I'll try to actively stay out of range of Garen, but I'll always be in range of Aatrox. So if Aatrox wants to fight, I take it no matter what, because I can't escape. This melee range versus range melee.
Yep.
Volibear is true melee. So I will do whatever it takes to stay out of melee from Volibear. Because Volibear's win condition is 2 Ws.
Yep, get the healing.
But most Volibears start E. So I'm gonna make him make the choice on use his E to try and get me to back off my pressure, or use the E on the wave to make a choice, right? So as soon as he walks up and shows me his intentions, I walk forwards. I see if the range minions aggro me or not, to see if I need to walk back into the wave. I ignite him for vision, and I'm gonna E forwards just to pressure him away.
Oh man.
Doesn't flash.
And you can see how desperate he wants to not miss XP.
Yeah. All top laners love the first 3 minions. You'll never know it until you play Urgot.
They cannot go down the first 3 melees. Yeah.
We see he uses E on the minion wave too. It's about he's just gonna lose these minions to that casual minion wave damage while I'm zoning him and getting EXP myself. So net positive. I'm net positive EXP. He's net loss everything.
Wow. And he been flash, right?
Yeah, he flashed after I landed my E on him. But
wow.
What does he do?
Look at the wave. Wow, this is so unique. You don't actually see this as very often, do you? Where the wave is actually the wave is actually shoving towards you. This is actually very I actually don't see this very often. Usually when you see this strategy, the wave is shoving into them, right? So with the wave being where it is, are you still looking to kind of stack and get the cold tempo reset?
Well, he has teleport, I believe. It might be a night volley.
No, he has ignite. Yeah, he has ignite.
Okay, yeah. So my game plan is I want him to try and walk up to me as much as possible to get himself into EXP range. But since I took his flash, I'm looking to E-flash him actively. And then kill him and then convert. Because Urgot really wants Cole. Like, Urgot is a different champion than Cole. Purely because, don't tell Riot this. Urgot W, 50% HP, right? You shoot a minion, you get 50% of the HP from Cole. Urgot gets 100% from Cole. So your healing is free every minute.
Because you're a melee.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm range.
No, but like you're coded as a melee. Is that what you're saying? Oh, sorry. I'm misinterpreting. Yeah, sorry.
You're misinterpreting because it's a bug. It's not meant to be like that.
Yeah, right.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Urgot W says, "Hey, you get on hit, but only 50% because you shoot 3 times."
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Cole applies 100%.
Right.
But don't tell Riot.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
This is going on YouTube.
Hi Riot, don't do it, please.
Okay,
yeah.
well, let's just quickly go back here because so again, like game plan's beautiful. You're in an amazing position. Again, a little bit of a mechanical blunder on the flash. You tried to go for the
it's 100 ping. You gotta give me a break.
The E flash, the ping debuff there, plus the streamer debuff. You got a double debuff.
Double debuff. Yeah.
So mindset still, you really want to get the Cole reset, right? So, but it's a bit awkward because the wave's coming into you. So, are you looking to maybe trim reset, or what's the thought process here?
Well, the thought process here is now as Volibear can't play the game, so I'm just going to stay in lane anyway. Like, usually Cole is a remedy to Urgot's issues at level 4, but if I don't have that issue at level 4, then I don't need it. So, as always, my jungle starts bot side of the map and they're pathing into top lane. If Volibear comes into this lane state, he dies, right? So now I'm just going to, I'm telling my jungler that Volibear has no flash. Now he's going to walk into this lane. It's completely frozen against him. You see, I'm always playing to one side of my leg.
He's just dead. He's going to die no matter what. He should die. I mean, if the jungler's competent, he should die every single time here.
Yeah. So that's just like, Volibear's game is over, just based on how I played the early game. And I could have forced the tempo by landing the E-flash. The E-flash hits, he dies. But Jarvan, my lane state is frozen. Volibear has no flash. My Ignite's coming off cooldown again. Volibear has Ignite.
The perfect conditions. This is legit the perfect conditions, And Volibear's probably pinged his jungler saying, you need to come top here. If you don't come top, my game's over. So Lilia's trying to desperately come.
Yeah.
Can't do anything, though, because it's a Lilia. And now it's just absolutely game over from Volley. Now,
so now Lilia gets on the XP too, so.
What I want the focus of this one to be, let's see how you snowball this lead, because look, a lot of people watching, they could probably get that level 3 down pat. They get that early solo kill. They get, they get a bit snowballed. I really want to, because again, that major difficult part of the lane, like you said at the very start, is that 4 to 8 or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what you do from this point. So Lilia smurfs it.
Jarvan ordered a minion.
Right.
Jarvan ordered cannon there, so it's a bit whatever. It kind of hurts, but
is what it is.
Wave state is still good, and Volibear. I go back to lane.
You got most of the XP, right? You got most of the XP.
Yeah, I got all the XP, so it's like fine. It's like whatever deaths. Like Lilia becomes a bit of a monster from it. But my lane state is still fine because Volibear has refillable potion. I think it got refillable, and I come back to lane with 2 long swords. So despite that disaster happening after the play, I still have a lot of tempo. Like that's Volibear's on 4 CS and like 4 minutes. Like, he's sad.
I mean, he's a lane bully, right? Essentially, right? That's what Volibear does. He has to get the ball rolling. Volibear doesn't play to scale. You play to get the ball rolling early, right? So his gameplay is.
So I've already won. Like that's how I look at this game. Yep. This game is already over. Like Volibear, they do that Korean build also with the it's a Rod of Ages and the Rory Flicker Blades, and they just play like, hey, I can't lose 1v1.
Yeah.
But this is how I create most of my leads. So the way I play lane is like super long. Right now, I don't know where the Lilia was. As soon as I see Lilia, I start playing more forwards. So
now Lilia shows bot. Now we can just go in.
Yeah, and then dead. That's it. But you have to respect junglers, like especially as an Urgot player. You just have to like if I don't know where Lilia is, I'm not allowed to make a play. But as soon as I see Lilia, my whole game plan and my brain switches. So it's like okay,
Urgot is so vulnerable, so unbelievable.
Yeah, very vulnerable champion. Like, if you get ganked like past a certain point in the lane, you're just dead because you can't like create that much space away from you. But as soon as I saw Lilia, I'm allowed to make the play. But just because I'm overconfident, I shouldn't be overconfident just because I got double longsword versus refillable. I should just play it slow, see what the enemy intentions are, and then my intentions, I can actually show them the Volibear. So that's what I mean by like psychological, like gaslight. Because I played very far back, even though I had two longswords.
Yeah, let's go over that. That's just huge. I think you're spot on. Like here, a lot of what a lot of Urgots would have done. They'd be like, well, I'm level 5 into Volibear's level 3. I've got 2 longswords. I can do whatever I want. But they would go in here, have no information about the Lilia, die to Lilia, waves bouncing out, you have no TP, and then boom, your game's just flipped on its head.
Yeah, so I would make consequential mistakes. So you see, I click back here, and this also gives Volibear the reassurance that he can trade with me, right? So like now, yeah. So right now, I'm gonna walk down. I'm gonna walk back because I want Volibear to still feel comfortable enough against me as an opponent that he I said, hey, have this melee minion, have it as a gift. You know, like,
you and dirty gaslighter.
Walked up for the minion, dead.
But also, I really love your point before though. Like, even though you're really fed, you were actively taking the time to set up the vision, thinking about the enemy jungler. You won't just mindlessly. Oh, here's a volley. I'm going to go in. No, like, because again, you're so goddamn vulnerable as Urgot.
Yeah, because I can kill Volibear 100% of the time. There's no discussion that Volibear is out the game, right? It's I can win whatever trade I want against Volibear whenever I want to win it. I just need to know, is it an actual good time to win it? So while I'm waiting for my wave to stack up, crash on the tower, get a plate, yada yada yada, find out where Lilia is. I just always think about where Lilia is. So jungle tracking is like probably the most important thing you can do with Urgot. I recommend looking at your minimap every like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, ideally.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good tip. And what I wanted to mention here as well is Urgot, it's quite unique in the sense that, like, you have so many options, especially later on as the game goes. Like, you could, like you were saying in the last VOD, I could go bot and get tier 2. I could group on this dragon, get this. I could go mid and probably siege tier 1. I could kill this guy again and so on. You have it's actually sometimes overwhelming playing Urgot because there's just so much you could do. So I found with Urgot, it's not about what you do, it's about what you don't do. It's about, you know what I mean? It's about like not making the dumb decision and just throwing your lead. It's like, you got to be it's so different to a lot of other champions that have limited options. Like, you have unlimited options. Like, you got to pick wisely which one you want to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Especially when it comes to like Urgot's fundamentals. Like right now, I'm making like a little bit of a mistake by overstaying, but I think this is like an acceptable mistake because I'm still getting EXP and gold.
And you are theoretically in your power trough.
Yeah. So this is like when I'm allowed. Also, I like this by Volibear. Some people might like flame Volibear for this, but I actually like him Volibear.
Because he's like screwed, right? He's trying. This is his only way back into the lane, right?
That is the only chance he ever has to play the game ever again, and that's what I was saying on stream when he did it. I'm like, I give him a salute there and everything. Like, if you sit there and Volibear just like accept this lane state, you lose, right? So why not try and coin flip? So
I like it.
For that. Yeah.
And the mistake, really, if we go back here, was off this when you were slow building into volley. What we should have done, really, is we shouldn't even have. It might have been not even go for the plate. I would have actually just reset here.
Yeah,
just kept the tempo.
You have to be greedy when you play Urgot. You have acceptable amounts of greed, and you can say like, "Hey, I don't mind if I miss 2 minions walking back the lane and like an inferior wave state."
Or you could recall here, right? You could just
I can recall right now, but I'm greedy.
This wave would be greedy.
It would be a wave push into me, but I want Volibear to lose those minions on the turret. I want Volibear to feel pain. Right, and that pain made him try to dive me and fail. So that you could argue, hey, I should have reset ages ago, but that play gave me plus 1,500 gold. So who's the real winner?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, again, there's like there's many little things we could do differently, but the core, fundamental aspects are going to stay the same, right? Yeah. So now we're absolutely rock and rolling. We're 3-1. The other side of the map not doing too well.
Volibear rage quit. Yeah, he just left lane.
he can't do anything. But again, let's just quickly talk about this. In terms of translating leads. I mean, look, I don't think it's going to be an overly sophisticated VOD because Volibear's given up. But mindset-wise, would be typically from this point, continue to solo kill, try and break that tier 1.
This is an interesting scenario actually because it's 2 hard counters, right? Senna, Lucian, ADC. They were warding me.
Too much mobility.
Yeah, and then Volibear jump scare. Dead. So that is like, you can see the intentions though, because Volibear out of the game. I have 2 sums up. As soon as I have 2 sums up, someone needs to die, right? So it's summoned on CD. If Volibear isn't in the fog of war here and they're not free manning top lane, I kill the Lucian, and then the enemy team they can't begin to start a win condition, right? So that is my intention of doing that play. I didn't realize if Volibear's not in the fog of war there. It's just a good play. I also miss my R there.
And I miss you. I think if you another thing as well, if we look at this actually, so I wonder if we could have actually, instead of, because you went for the insta E flash. I wonder if you just E'd first and then reacted to his dash. You know what I mean?
If you open with E, then they will dash, and then I'm in a scenario where I can't look for a stun anyway. And then if I do R, he's gonna cleanse it and like leave anyway.
Right.
So I also think that was a bug. Yeah. I think if you look at the direction I hit the illusion at, it does flip into the correct angle. You see, it flips him like.
Yeah. Right. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Like, if you make it like a last second input, it moves in like more to like a direction.
Right.
That's just like whatever. But I think if I go E, Lucian reacts with E. And then I no longer have any opportunity to kill him again because he has flash still, right? So then I'll have to defensively flash, and I never want to defensively flash. So in my eyes, the only play here is E flash Lucian, kill Lucian, fear convert onto center, but then Volibear is just in fog of war, and that's like uncontrollable variable.
Or you could just catch this under tower, no?
Yeah, but then I'm not using tempo, and I'm a tempo player.
Right. Yeah, and again, this is like I think one thing that I'm noticing from your gameplay is like you've got your there's like this layer of like beautiful Urgot fundamentals and beautiful kind of Urgot champion mastery, and then you have this little kind of your personality traits. It's like you have these very, very unique ways of playing the game, and it works, right? It works. You're an incredibly valuable player, right? But it's interesting hearing your perspective on things. It's like there's certain scenarios where I'm like, holy moly, that is not.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are like borderline griefing, and I understand that, but like. If it gets me gold, that's literally all I care. As soon as I hit BC Sterax, the game's over, man.
So I don't think we can skim forward a little bit. It looks like
let's get this one. It's like the laning phase.
Yeah, it's a bit of a niche one. So we'll move on to the next one. I'm going for over some mid game.
Yeah, this is a lane where I killed Wukong, and then Wukong solo killed me, and then his jungle came on the wave rebound. So this is a lane where I'm like 4-3. It's neutral. It's 17-7. With losing, so now I have no tempo. I have a call at like 17 minutes. That's not even cashed in yet. So this is a bad lobby.
So this is a bit of a disastrous early game. We've lost the first dragon as well, which is never great
against my win condition of like soul.
Your bot lane, struggling massively. Mid lane struggling massively. Everyone's losing. This is legit like worst case scenario. And
this is so good.
Playing games like this as an Urgot with no TP as well in mid game. Holy God, this is hard. This is a this is a hard situation to be in.
Yeah, this is probably like the hardest like environment you can put Urgot into, because they have a Lissandra at hard CC, they have Evelyn hard CC, they have Rail hard CC.
So much heal, so much heal. Now, let's get into this mindset wise. You're in a shitty situation. What are you thinking? Where's your head at? What are you prioritizing?
So in my head, in every lobby I enter, I have a danger tier list. So I put like the number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. 1 being the highest priority, 5 being the lowest priority. So in order of what champions are most dangerous to me, it's Jhin, Evelyn, Lissandra, then Wukong, then Rel, right? So in my brain, I've always already visualized that this is the order that people need to dive to me to have a good outcome.
Yeah, right.
Because Evelyn, she charms me, stuns. Jhin, obviously, just an ADC. If I can E-flash Jhin, and then
get that juicy bounty.
Yeah, so bounties are the way we get back into this game, and I have to kill by this order. And if I can't kill from 1, 2, 3, I start 2, 3. And if I can't do 2, 3, I do 3, 4.
Right. Okay, interesting. And that's mainly based off who has threat onto you, but also bounties.
Yeah, so bounties main threat onto me. And
okay, cool. So it's really just killing people still.
That is the whole I'm a psycho, bro. I want to kill people.
Well, that is Urgot's identity. That's it. I mean, you're not you don't really have many other options.
Yeah, you just have to kill to live. Very Urgot heavy.
Okay, so game's obviously going to be very messy here. Dragon is up. It doesn't look like you guys can even contest this.
No, we can't position you for that.
Look, we're not. I wouldn't look. Surprisingly, you're not that weak. Right, you're level 11, Black Cleaver with a Phage. Like, you can still do work. Like, you're not...
Yeah.
Obviously you're not, super strong, but you're not super weak. I wouldn't consider you super weak.
Yeah, I'm definitely a way to win this game. Yeah. I am a potential win con. I'm not a win condition yet, but I have the potential to do it.
And so, really what we're looking for is catching waves deep, catching whatever waves we can, trying to essentially stall out the game to try and get to your second item, right? Which is obviously going to be a big one. And looking for opportunistic picks and one-shots. That I'm assuming that's kind of to summarize the mindset.
So you kind of have to... So I was mid lane there, like hanging out with my teammates, just like just because I don't want them to damage my tier 2 turret. If we lose tier 2 turrets, we lose so much map pressure. And my whole playstyle in general is very based around tier 2 turret. Because if you lose that tier 2 turret, you lose approximately 15 seconds on like catching the next wave. And your tempo is just general very low. Because now somebody has to go fix that wave will eventually come back into you. Yada yada yada. Especially super minions. Super minions are really feels bad to me. So I would do whatever it takes not lose my tier 2 turrets. Tier 1 turret, I don't really care about. I think sometimes it's optimal to just lose your tier 1 turret so you can actually farm it out. But tier 2 turrets, that's like my absolute like deadline. That's when I will start guarding, I will start grouping up. But I went Strikebreaker second here, despite me only recommending to go Strikebreaker second when you're winning, right? So obviously I'm not winning here. But I think the only way to practically pilot this lobby is with the Strikebreaker movement speed and to force a win condition. So in situations like this, like if you're playing Fleet TP Urgot, it's my main problem with like Fleet TP in general. It kind of like it resigns you to a certain formula, and you can only do that formula. But with PTA Ignite, you kind of afford yourself the luxury of saying, "Hey, I want to do this. I'm now going to do this." Right?
Right. You don't have that X factor with Fleet. Fleet's a lot more stable and consistent, but you don't have that. Oh, if I need to pull the trigger and quickly one shot someone, you don't really have that as much as you would with PTA and Ignite.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to leverage. I'm trying to leverage my summoners up. I see tier 2 turret. I'm seeing Jhin. I see Jhin. If I hit Q on him, E-flash, then I see all my teammates are dead. I try to take some of the aggro from away from the tower. So you see, I love tier 2 turret. I would die for tier 2 turrets. So I kept this tower alive, and that's very important to me. And now I'm still just hovering around. I'm seeing if Jhin makes a mistake. I'm seeing if I can go Q, E-flash. I'm seeing like if there's anything I can do here. Because I will eventually, there you go.
Yeah, this is what you're looking for. He missed tethers. You got strike break. Oh, very, very close.
Just very outside. But that's the game plan, right? That's what I'm looking for.
Get out.
You see in the chat? Surely we FF? No. Miss E-flash?
Yeah. Because in your mind, from an Urgot perspective, what you're looking at is if you had, like, this is your one chance. You got 2 items, you got your summoners. This is go time, right? Like, you're trying to get that.
Surely we FF? No. E-flash? Miss? FF.
Yeah, and now the game is really hard. Now it's very
now hard. It's like impossible, but it's
now it's on them, right? It's on them to mess up, right? And now the mindset should be, okay, let's just make them earn their win. Let's just make them sweat for some LP, and then do what we can. And so
I like to preface, we do win this lobby.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm intrigued to see how the hell you win this. But again, like I like the attempt, right? I mean, I don't mind the attempts. I can see the intention.
Yeah, mechanically, I'm not all there yet because I'm still dapping to 100 ping, but the intention is there. And as long as you have good intentions, that's like all you can ask for,
yes,
right?
Exactly right. And so same thing, right? We need to get on that Jhin. We need to get those bounties. We need to get those AoE fears in those team fights and just look for picks. So it looks like we're just trying to catch deep sideways. We'll skip forward over this, maybe this lull state.
Yeah.
Trying to shove out sides to the best of your ability. We don't know where Evelyn is.
Right now, like, it's Baron up. If I walk there, I'm dead. I get Baron. But I do see Rel overextending in our jungle. Monkey is bot lane. We have, like, an advantageous flank position here, maybe. I do have Strikebreaker backing up to the Jhin. And Jhin now has no flash. So even though my E-flash attempt failed, there's still an angle. I've created an opening, like, some kind of weakness on the enemy team comp. Like, if somehow Kane can get a miracle W on the Jhin, if somehow Kai'Sa can win this trade, right? That is an angle and a way to leverage a win condition, right?
Yeah, and this is, again, you're just trying to find a way. You're trying to get creative.
I don't know how that R did not hit, by the way.
Nice sidestep from the list. Very nice.
Yeah, it was actually very nice. I still win, though, because I know about it.
Wow, she massively did not anticipate your damage there. You can tell she was trying to grid her R.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Greed is good. You should always look for these, like, kind of plays.
Yeah, but especially when you're behind, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, this sort of scenario, any pick's a good pick. We just got a big bouncy, beautiful. Yep. Working towards our 3rd item here. So they get Baron. Dragon is up.
Not Soul, though. Most importantly, not Soul.
We have time. And it's also Cloud. It's Cloud Soul as well. So we can stall this game out. You could even give Soul this game if need be.
If need be. It's Cloud Soul. It's probably the weakest Soul. Purely because every item, I don't know why, every league item has like 7%, 5% movement speed in it now. It's crazy. you feel Kraken Sawyer has 7% movement speed in it for whatever reason. Someone justified that to me.
I've been so vocal about how much I hate Fleet as a rune. Like, I just think...
I've got it, I forget.
I hope they just gut that thing, just remove it. The movement speed, like, because movement speed, getting it some movement speed with sustain is just so silly. Anyway, back to the game. So it looks like what you're trying to do.
Right now, it's like Kaiser went top lane, which like I want to contest because like if we don't contest now, the game's gonna keep getting slipperier and slipperier. They just use Wukong combo. I think that was WE, might be E. They waste all of their stuff on me, right? I get out, but then nobody like fights, right? Senna's walking out, Hui's going back. I think I flame here, but like we have to like try and look for something, right? The Lissandra's not the team fight. We can do R convert. We can do. There's multiple options we can do there. We trade 1-for-1 in a situation like this. It's very much so worth. But my whole team just like holds backwards, right? But
yeah, I'm trying to look for opportunities here.
Yeah. So here's the enemy team makes a mistake by overextending.
Yeah, and this is what you're looking for. These very, very opportunistic plays. So let's go back here. So we come out of base.
Yeah, this play is important because this saves the game.
Looks like they're getting quite greedy. You're looking for a bit of a snipe there. We an incredibly good snipe onto the Rel, also onto the Lissandra, onto the next target. This is our opportunity.
Yeah, so 1k there, but I couldn't go for the I had strike breaker up against Jin. I couldn't go for the R flash for your convert because I was stunned. But that's what ideally I was looking for, right? But now Jin, no flash again. I just got 2,100 gold. That hits my Aatrox. So now, again, I'm effectively 6,000 health, like, building in a team fight. Aatrox shield around this point will give about 1.2k, 1.5k. So, my idea with this lobby is we have to try and force something, no matter what the play is, even if it's 1 for 2, 1 for 3, as long as we get gold. Like, in a position like this, like when the enemy team is like 5,000 gold up, 7,000 gold up, I see every 1 gold we get is 2. Pretty much, because the enemy team with more gold is just going to overkill us more. But if we get the platform to start functioning with, that's exactly what we want, right? So I don't mind trading 1 for 2, 1 for 3, 1 for 4, as long as we can get something going. And now we've got something going because the enemy greeted, right? That's generally what I'm just trying to achieve my mindset.
Interesting. Yeah, right. And so now that you've got Aatrox in base, now you can actually have a potentially just winning team fights. I mean, you're going to be being able to create so much space. Looks like you're having a blast now.
That's my Aatrox celebration.
Because now you're thinking, all right, we actually got a chance. We might actually be able to contest some team fights. So you're approaching level 16 as well, which is quite nice.
I'm spiked. Jin has no flash. Jin's really out of position, so you see me like really wanted to go forwards here. There's a Jin's on his own to the left. Like what can Jin do here? So that's why I'm walking forwards. I'm facing everything. As well. Yeah, this is the perfect team fight.
I mean, you created a lot. You created a lot of space there. Think about what they do here. So if you take a look,
Jin's to the left, like off vision. Jin's to the left. He's not participating in this fight at all, right? Wukong spot. Hui's mid. Hui is like a semi-global ability and is like a hunt ability. You see, I burned Evelyn R. I burned Lissandra R. I burned everything, but my team just like they hold back way too much. There's also Enchanter Center, which keeps me alive too. So you see, 4,700 damage taken. It doesn't take into account Aatrox shield, which is about 1,500, 1,700, somewhere in that area. So I tank 6,000 is fine,
right? Trading kills
yeah, that's great. That's exactly what we want. The Kaiser was a bit, but
having a bit of a rough. He's having a bit of a rough game. So fast forward here while we're dead, we're coming back out. I mean, look, there's no objectives up, so the game's just kind of stalling out for now. Right? The fact that we got that one dragon is huge.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got it. They greeted so hard at the end there. The Jin still hasn't died. Credit to him. See, Q, E,
Strikebreaker. Oh. This is such a big kill. Oh, so close.
But we get Lissandra.
Yeah, still
so,
great.
It's a 2v4. Get a pick, which is crazy.
I mean, the fact that we're trading kills here in general is just absolutely amazing for your comp.
Yeah. So I'm online.
Oh man, this is and this is League of Legends in a nutshell, though, right? Like people just get so complacent when it comes to ending games. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So the enemy team, like realistically, they shouldn't have even gone for the inhibitor to begin with. They should just do a full reset, tempo reset Baron, right?
Welcome to League of Legends.
Yeah, but since they didn't, I found the wedge. I took Jin's flash twice. I found shutdowns, and now this game is actually winnable. But you see, like this lobby, even though my whole philosophy is like, hey, if you're losing, build these items. If you're winning, build these items. I've built a carry-oriented win more item set this lobby because that's the only way to win the game. So like, if you're losing, you don't always have to build like loser items like defensive and like low gold economy and stuff like that. I'm going for Overlord's Blood Mail. I'm going for Strikebreaker on second, which I only do when I'm really, really ahead because Strikebreaker is a really expensive item, has attack speed in it, which Urgot can't utilize. But I in my head, the only way to physically win this lobby is to 1v9 it. And how do I 1v9 it? It's Strikebreaker, it's Overlord Bloodmail, yada yada yada.
Yeah, now we've farmed our way back to our 4th item, and now we're absolute god mode. And this is where we can legit just take over team fights. So it's very intrigued to see how we play this last team fight here. So we've redeployed back up again. Yep. Both we've got flash back up. So let's go back here. So coming out of base, we're thinking obviously killing Jin's great, killing Evelyn is great, realistically.
NBC surprise, Lissandra. I go for a ward, like to see if they're doing Baron or not.
Oh man.
Wukong has the cadence out of him. 2 people picked.
And we didn't even have to burn flash for that, by the way. That's the big one. The fact that we didn't have to burn flash for that pick is unbelievable.
Because I was debating in my head, do I need a flash sphere to convert enough pressure? But now we just go Baron, and then the game is entirely thrown. Because now the enemy team, even though it's 32-18, they're losing, which is crazy. What's this game back? Like bewildered at the choices they're making.
And this is the thing with Urgot. You know, you just create so much space. You know, and look, this is a game where obviously you didn't have a great early game, and you didn't. You know, we had to I guess fight our way back into the game to be impactful. But you know, most of your Urgot games, we shouldn't really be in this position, right? Like if you're a competent Urgot player, and you know you're really trying to be a consistent Urgot player, we're going to be coming out of the lane with a bit of a lead, translating into the mid game, and then being able to again rock up to those team fights with those key spikes, creating a shit ton of space. And now it's just a matter of being there for those fights. As long as we're there, we're not doing anything silly, we're utilizing our summoners with intention, we should be able to roll over these fights, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to hit Force of Nature here as my last item, because the enemy team, you know, obviously they're like full AP. Evelyn fails an assassination on Mike Way, despite Mike Way being probably like 0-7 in this lobby. So again, incredible. The enemy team have just like lost all wind in their sails. I think they could still easily win this lobby if they just, you know, group up and say, hey, let's play 5v5, let Evelyn flank, and good positioning. But the enemy team, they're dizzy, right? They're like, okay, Urgot's 1v9ing.
They're probably raging at each other.
Yeah, they're like, how did you lose 10,000 gold down? See, Kaiser gets herself caught. It doesn't matter because, you know, Senna.
Nice R.
Champion. Yeah. And then, you know, they just lose.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not really playing to their win conditions anymore. Like you said, I think they're a bit demoralized after everything that's happened, and everyone just keeps getting caught. And now we're in a very commanding position, and it looks like now we're just kind of running over the game.
Yeah, so you'll see me, like, whenever you, like, see any kind of replay, I always play the jungle, because it gives less error for E to go wrong. There's tighter corridors, less places to move.
Choke points.
So, yeah, so that's what I mean when I control space. I control choke points, and I sit in choke points for, like, hours, like, pretty much, like, daily.
I have actually noticed that with your gameplay. You're always moving into the enemy jungle, whether it's taking camps or just putting your body in those areas. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think that's the most optimal way you can play top lane. As a top laner, you should want to put the enemy jungler behind no matter what. But you need to do it in a way that doesn't grief you. So the way I do it is I just win lane and I say, hey, jungle. And then I just take it. If there's Krugs up, I take it. If there's Wolves up, I try to take it.
Yeah, I'm going to start playing around with that more, to be honest. It's actually an element of my play with top lane that I don't think I leverage enough. I definitely walking away from this, these games with you just really got me inspired to maybe put more of an emphasis on screwing over the enemy jungler a little bit more.
Yeah, it's the most important role because it can impact all five players, right?
Yeah, in mid game, I mean, in mid game, a lot of the time, the jungle location dictates kind of what happens, right? Like for the most part, so outside of neutrals, of course. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is a disaster, right? If we're ever burning flash,
defensive flash is like a nightmare.
This is worse.
The defensive flash is like the last thing you want to do, but Kaiser burned her R, kill stealing me. Like we would be able to kill Jin there if Kaiser hadn't burned R, kill stealing me bot lane. But I have to burn my flash defensively there. But we do kill the Wukong on top lane, so we do trade again. So trading again, 15,000 gold down, still good for us. But I lost my flash, so now I'm gonna play in general like more defensive or to those choke points, right? So I want the enemy team to I want to live rent free in the enemy team's head. If you're going to walk into the jungle, you need to imagine like some 10-foot dude breathing on you before you walk into the bush, right? That's my gameplay. So I just play very jungle oriented.
And I guess for Urgot players watching, it's a really good review point. Like if you're, wasting your flash or you don't feel like you got a lot of value from your flash, you probably need to be investigating that. That's a really big part of Urgot gameplay.
Yeah.
Because it just changes the way you play team fights, right? If you have flash, it completely changes The way you can.
Urgot has 2 champions at the same. Well, it's like 5 champions at the same time. But flash up, you're a monster. Flash down, you're like meat shield, right? Right now, I'm the carry, which you don't often see because Urgot's not a 1v9 champion. I think Urgot is like a glorified 2v8 machine, right? So again, I'm in the jungle. Wherever I am, I'm jungle. I'm looking to get pressure. Evelyn now has no ult. She's useless in a team fight. She's a charm bot. Any team is coming for me, it doesn't matter. These are like calculated risks. I'm like playing thousands of games, right? But I'm always in the jungle.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that. So you didn't run through mid there. You actually run through the jungle. You're always looking for those opportunistic picks. And if they run into you, you got the choke point, so you're going to get mega value from your R.
Yeah, and then they play into the choke point, and then they lose.
Wow.
Senna is, yeah.
Yeah, Senna's super strong at the moment, isn't she?
Oh, she's disgusting.
So what happened? What did they do to her?
They gave her AP scalings with her healing.
Right.
You see here, again, I walk into the jungle, I drag 2 with me, my team killed them. That was a 4v2, and my team should be stronger. So I put faith in my team to do something here. Wukong burners are flat.
So that's the mindset here. The mindset here is, again, you're basically trying to, again, burn as much stuff. And if you're going to die, drag as many people down with you in the...
Yeah. Because I'm only doing this, I have no flash. I have no flash, I'm a super minion. The best thing I can do here is be an enabler.
Well, especially no walls as well. Yeah, no ult, no flash.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I'm literally just useless, right? I just walk at them, I drag them away from my team, and then leverage, right? Because now we get dragon, yada, yada, yada.
So we'll fast forward, maybe take a look at one last team fight here. So it looks like there was one more deployment here. Looks like the enemy started a Baron. We'll take a look here.
Yeah,
we have
picked.
ultimate.
Yeah, Hoi got picked, but then they start Baron, but they I think I'm enough to be like 2 units in this lobby at this point. So it's basically a 5v5 right now. Flash is coming up in 20. We ping that we need to push out mid wave. I take set as support items. That's your opposition, I think it's called. Wukong's pushing side lane, and they try to restart the Baron, but
I mean, I think you're more than 2 champions at this stage, to be honest. I think you're borderline 3.
The enemy team, they just have no tempo. There's no tempo behind any of their plays. You see, my flash is coming up, and they start walking forwards.
Well, this is such a unique scenario, right? Because typically what you would see here is that if 2 of your members, your AD carry and mid and bot, you wouldn't be able to do this. But you're so fed. You're so impactful here that you're essentially contesting River as a 3v4 and winning it, you know? And you didn't even have to burn your flash.
Yeah. So we killed Wukong on side lane because we sent someone to go answer him, and then I just body block for the Hui. You see that center healing?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
So now I basically have a Warmogs in my center, right? So we neutralize another play, and we're just playing to equalize the game as much as physically possible. And this was all through like just understanding what my champion is. Because I play jungle, I put Evelyn behind. When an assassin loses resources, especially assassin players, because they have really feast or famine, they always go and do some kind of play like this, right? So her whole jungle's been invaded the entire game. She makes one mistake, that one mistake ends the game. So try and tilt the enemy jungler as much as possible, and then especially Evelyn, Talon players.
That's the Urpog special.
Yeah, tilt the enemy jungler. Do whatever you can to annoy the jungler. Make them gank your lane and have the understanding of their track their pathing, and they'll just waste some time.
Yeah, and now we're just going to basically end the game now. So yeah, amazing stuff. I mean, look, I think there's a lot of beautiful bits of information here, and I think, you know, it definitely gives me a lot to think about in terms of my Urgot gameplay, especially utilizing the jungle a lot more. You know,
I think points especially, yeah.
And I'm gonna go back to, you know, the PTA Ignite, give that a whirl, especially, you know, since the changes to fleet getting nerfed on repeat and you know, death timers and everything. So I'll give that a go. I'll figure that out. And yeah, I mean, overall, Urpog, thank you so much for spending the time for, you know, walking me through these VODs. And I will put Urpog's links in the description below. Your Twitch stream. You have a YouTube as well, or
yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I do patch rundowns every time there's anything significant that happens to Urgot too. So if there's anything new tech that does come up, I say, hey, this is happening. Try this out. See if you like it. So if you like staying informed, I got my finger on the pulse of the game. So check it out.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'll chuck those links in the description. Thanks again, Urpog, and we'll see you guys for another video soon. Cheers.
Bye.